I lost about 30 pounds in 3 months doing keto, and I'm not gonna lie, it worked. Like, really worked. But here's the part nobody really prepares you for: what happens after. Because losing the weight, that's actually the easy part. Keeping it off, without staying on keto forever, that's where things can fall apart. Because the moment you bring carbs back in, your appetite comes back with them. And if you don't have a plan for that, you can slowly drift right back to where you started without even realizing it. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I'm doing now to keep the weight off without going back to super low carb. No extremes, no crash dieting, just what actually works, especially once you're in your 40s. So yeah, keto worked for me. Dropped around 30 pounds in a pretty short amount of time, and if you've ever done it, you already know why it works. You cut out a huge category of foods, your hunger drops, you're not constantly thinking about eating, and you end up in a calorie deficit almost by accident. That's really what it comes down to. It's not magic, it just makes eating less, easier. But here's the thing, keto is very restrictive, and for most people, including me, it's not something you want to do forever. At some point, you want normal food again. Fruit, rice, tortillas, whatever it is for you. And the second those come back into your diet, so does your appetite. And if nothing else changes, that's where people regain the weight. So the real question isn't just how to lose the weight, it's how to eat normally again without losing control. What I've learned is this: you don't need another extreme diet. You just need a few simple rules that keep things in check without feeling restricted all the time. The biggest one is protein. If there's one thing I kept from keto, it's this right here. Protein is everything, because protein controls your hunger. It keeps you full longer, stabilizes your appetite, and helps you hold on to muscle, which matters a lot more once you hit your 40s, and you'll feel it if you don't get enough. You start getting hungry way sooner than you should, you start reaching for snacks, and your portions slowly get bigger without you noticing. That's how it creeps back in. So now, every meal I eat starts with protein. Chicken, beef, eggs, Greek yogurt, something solid. That's the foundation. Everything else comes after that. Now let's talk about carbs, because this is where things can go sideways fast. A lot of people come off keto and swing all the way back, from almost zero carbs to eating anything and everything again. And carbs aren't the enemy, but they are easy to overeat. So instead of cutting them out again, I just got smarter about how I use them. I keep them around meals, rice, potatoes, fruit, real food, but I'm not snacking on carbs all day long. And I stay away from those combinations that are just way too easy to overdo. High fat and high carbs together. That's the stuff that gets you. Chips, desserts, fast food, you can eat a ton of that without even feeling full. Keto worked partly because it removed that entire category. Now I just don't let it become a daily habit again. Another thing that made a big difference is having some kind of structure, not a strict diet, just a repeatable way of eating. Because when you don't have structure, you end up making food decisions all day long. What should I eat? Should I have this? Maybe just a little, and all those little decisions, they add up. So now I keep it simple, a few solid meals a day, not a ton of random snacking. Meals that I can repeat without thinking too much about it, because the more consistent your meals are, the more consistent your intake becomes. You don't have to track everything forever, but you do need some kind of rhythm, otherwise it slowly turns into overeating again. Another big one is strength training, and honestly, this is where a lot of people mess up. When you lose weight quickly, you're not just losing fat, you can lose muscle too, and after 40, your body doesn't hold on to muscle the same way it used to. So if you're not doing anything to keep it, you'll lose it, and that affects everything. Your metabolism, your strength, how you look. So now I make sure I'm lifting a few times a week, nothing crazy. Just enough to tell my body we still need this. That alone makes a huge difference long term. Now here's one that catches a lot of people off guard. The calories you don't think about. Oils, dressings, sauces, nuts, drinks, especially alcohol. These things are easy to overlook, but they add up fast. And the worst part is they don't really fill you up, so you can take in a lot of extra calories without ever feeling like you ate that much. Keto kind of hides this because your food choices are limited, but once you're eating more normally again, this becomes way more important. And this last one might be the most important of all. You need some kind of guardrail, because nobody eats perfectly all the time. Life happens. You go out, you have a weekend where things are off, it's normal. But instead of letting that turn into weeks or months, I just watch my weight. If it starts going up a few pounds, that's my signal. I tighten things up for a few days. More protein, cleaner meals, maybe pull carbs back a little temporarily. Nothing extreme, just enough to bring things back under control. That way it never turns into gaining everything back. Here's the truth. Keto showed me that I could lose the weight, but keeping it off, that's a different game. That's not about intensity, it's about consistency, especially after 40. You can't rely on extremes forever. You need something that fits your life, something you can actually repeat without burning out, because at this stage, it's not just about looking better. It's about feeling better, moving better, having energy again. So yeah, I'm not on keto anymore, but I'm also not going back to how I used to eat. It's somewhere in the middle. And honestly, that's what feels sustainable. If you've gone through something similar, lost weight, and now you're trying to keep it off, this is the phase that really matters. So if that's you, stick around. I'm gonna be sharing more of what actually works for staying in shape in your 40s, without extremes. No B's. Just real strategies you can actually stick to.